No championship to celebrate when it comes to the basketball team, but you have a commitment to celebrate, Caleb. And I know you have strong feelings on Rick Barnes. I have some pretty strong feelings as well as to what he can achieve and how long he'll be around and what should be acceptable. But let's start the conversation with Tennessee's newest commitment. What can you tell me about the latest hoopster?
Bishop Boswell comes out of North Carolina. He is very much a Rick Barnes type of player. He's a 6'4" combo guard, great defense, great passing, and he scores by driving to the basket. Now, I think that's a little outdated way of looking at how you win basketball games today. I think being able to stretch the court is more important, but Rick Barnes has gone in the transfer portal and added players who can stretch the court. So I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think this is indicative that Rick Barnes isn't at least willing to adapt still. This is a good pickup for Tennessee in 2024. It's their first 2024 pickup. He's a 4-star across the board, elite combo guard, and with Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi out of eligibility after this year, the perfect guy to come in that you could see kind of make an impact, at least from a depth perspective, long term. So I think Tennessee should be happy about that. And he's going to be the first commit whose first year on campus will be when Rick Barnes is 70. And I wanted to bring this up because Rick Barnes is turning 70 next year, and his contract runs until he's 74. But Dave, I look at Rick Barnes. I mean, some people are 70 going on 100, and some people are 70 going on 50. And I feel like Rick Barnes is 70 going on 50. I mean, he doesn't come across to me as somebody who's turning 70 next year.
No, I agree. And you could say the same thing about Nick Saban. He just does not look nearly as old as he is. Now, you'd like to have the success that Saban had with Rick Barnes, but you haven't. Who were the other schools involved in the newest Tennessee basketball commitment?
I know Wake Forest was involved, which look, it's good for Tennessee to beat out Wake Forest. I'm pulling it up now. I do believe Villanova was involved, which, two-time national champion. That's a good team to beat out. So no shame in that. And so there were couple of schools, North Carolina schools were definitely targeting him. So this is definitely overall a good pickup for Tennessee. I'm pulling up the other schools now because I had already forgotten them, but he definitely said that he connected with Rick Barnes. Oh, Xavier in Missouri, he was eyeing, and Missouri had a good start to the season last year, and Georgia too. So, not amazing schools that are like loading up on national champions. If Xavier, Wake Forest, and Missouri and Georgia are your top other schools, but all schools with coaches on the rise, particularly Missouri, which had a great first year last year under their new head coach. And so I got to be honest, I think this is not a bad. What it really shows is Rick Barnes, he's beating out youthful coaches for top-notch recruits. And, the young coach that has a splash first year always does well on the trail right after that. And so to beat him out says a lot about Barnes.
Well, and as I brought up, we've gotten a lot of South Carolina fans because it's Tennessee, South Carolina week. So SC Scout Guy weighs in on Rick Barnes from his South Carolina perspective. I will say this again. You don't realize how lucky you are to have Rick Barnes. SC has been to 5 tournaments in 50 years. I would love to have Rick Barnes as our coach, which leads me to the question, what school other than Kentucky wouldn't take Rick Barnes right now? Is it Kansas? Auburn? I was talking SEC schools.
Oh, SEC schools.
Auburn, Bruce Pearl.
Yeah.
Who else would not trade their head coach for Rick Barnes and the stability that he would bring with the backdrop that other than Kentucky, football is king and basketball just has to be respectable?
I think Arkansas is pretty happy with Eric Musselman. They might start the year number 1 right now. So I think Arkansas is pretty happy. Look, whatever you think about how last year went down, Alabama's pretty satisfied with Nate Oates at this point.
Oh, my gosh. See, I would disagree there. I thought there were too many off-court issues and guns.
I'm not saying what would be the right move. I think Alabama is I think the fans are happy with it. And so, it's what with the fans and they're happy with the success. And look, Eric Musselman and Nate Oates have more fun teams to watch. Rick Barnes teams are not fun to watch. Let's call it what it is. They are boring to watch, and it doesn't go far in the NCAA tournament. And that's the SC Scout guy. I get what you're saying. But at least even with Frank Martin, y'all got a Final Four. Rick Barnes can barely get out of the first round of the NCAA tournament and always loses to a lower seed because of his obsessive nature of defense. Now, I will say, we got to point this out, Dave. Rick Barnes' best accomplishment, I don't know if you saw this because we're talking about celebrating champions. Tennessee has removed the NIT banners from Thompson Bowling, the Food City Arena.
They had
finally.
NIT banners up. I've been to countless practices and games there, and I did not know they even had NIT banners.
Yes, they had NIT banners.
Final Four, Elite Eight NIT banners, or is it winning the championship NIT banners?
It's going to the NIT banners. They had going to the NIT banners.